Fun, Lynn. I am so excited about this conversation. Meeting you through your email introduction just made me know that you were going to be a lot of fun right from the beginning. So, thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
I would love to start because I want to hear all of the wonderful things that you are up to, but I would love to know first, how are you saying yes to yourself in this season?
How am I saying yes to myself? I there's like a kind of a big way and a small way.
Yeah, bring it.
I well, okay, there's a few things. Let me think. The first, a few things pop to mind into mind. One is I'm saying yes to myself by saying no to others, or also just not really saying no, but catching myself when I'm about to like do something for them that they can do themselves.
Mm,
So especially like even just silly stuff with with my husband or my kids, whatever. If they're like, "Where's the something?" and I'll be like, "Oh, it's right here. I'll grab it. It's right here." Or just being, just my instinct is to
right.
like do it, and I don't. That's I'm done. I've done enough. So
I
I've been
love
practicing.
that,
What's that?
actually. I love that
Yeah.
because I think I don't know if you're familiar with Terry Cole's work, but she wrote the book Boundary Boss, and she talks about um over functioning, like that we're what's it called, over functioning codependence, and over functioners turn regular functioners into under functioners
Right.
by just doing everything for them
Yep.
and not even like not necessarily like conscious obligation, but subconscious habit.
Totally. It's like the sort of, I call it let me just, let me just, and like no, no, I won't. So I've been really conscious of like noticing when I that is my impulse and then not doing it. And honestly, yeah, sure, it's growth for them, but it's just really like better for me. Um,
Totally.
I also I got to the end of honestly 5 years of kind of elder care hell and other nightmares, and during which time I was pretty good about like little things like making sure I got my manicure, like little things that kept me going, but I neglected a lot of things. So um I one thing I've been doing that I've said yes to is creative projects, or certain creative projects, because I run a comedy company. I never get to make funny stuff.
Mm.
It's like everyone's like, I did a thing, and I'm like, I made a spreadsheet, and so womp womp. So I finally had a little bit of more discretionary time. So I've actually like worked projects and goals into my schedule, not just like I'm going to do the pilot this year, but I have like an online writers room that I go to almost every day, which is just like, hi everybody, okay, now we're quiet. um,
Right.
that I designate for the pilot and other stuff. And I also set an intention to do the moth this year, and I went the first one I went to, I got picked and had a story and came in second place by zero point 0.4 points.
Oh my gosh. That's so amazing.
So, I mean, I wanted to be in first place, but okay, it's fine. But I did it. Now I'm like, oh, I can. Now I'm like, oh, that was fine. I can do it. So I've just been trying to like not just say I'm going to do the things, but literally scheduling them.
I love that. And of course, that is what makes it happen.
Hmm.
I don't miss things that are on my calendar,
Yep.
but I'm constantly moving the things that were on my personal, I'm the only one who's going to reap the negative benefit or the negative consequence of this not happening.
Right.
I move those over and over and over
Always.
to
Yep.
accommodate the needs and desires of other people. And sometimes that is the right thing to do, and sometimes it's just my habit.
Yep. Yep. Totally. Totally. So yeah. So those are my things that
I
leapt to
love
mind.
those things. And congratulations. I
Thank
want
you.
to like are I know I've listened to a lot of things on the moth. Like is it available? Can I listen
No,
to
no, it was just
the
a story
thing?
slam.
Okay.
So, I don't think
Love
it
it.
was recorded, but it was one of the, the entry point story slams.
Right.
And I was thrilled that I got picked because there were lots of people there. So,
For sure.
but I mean, I've done storytelling forever. I love storytelling. It's stupid that I literally never done the moth. Never even put my name in the hat, So, and now I'm like, okay, when am I doing it? So I'm being intentional about looking at the schedule and seeing what the themes are. And I have so many
Sure.
stories in my back pocket that are either already written that I just have to tweak, whatever. So I'm just being intentional about going to the ones that I can go to, which have themes for which I possibly have a story, preparing for it, et cetera, et cetera.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool. And tell me about the pilot.
So this is also I'm trying to think of a context that'll be interesting to your listeners. I mean, it's very much a it's sort of like I have a friend who was divorced and married her high school sweetheart recently, and
Okay.
it's a little bit like that, by which I mean, um this very short version of the story is that my creative partner and I created in the late 90s, um, a superhero character called Breakup Girl, and
Okay.
who helps all people with romantic emergencies. And it was
Awesome.
actually the first multi-platform internet success story. It was internet and TV and books. It was really the first of its kind. It wound up being acquired by Oxygen. It had a huge cult following before we had metrics, so I can't even tell you what the numbers were. But anyway, and then long story short, all fell apart, and we lost the IP and the
Hmm.
dot com. What do they call it?
Thing.
Crash? What was it? I can't
Yeah,
remember.
bubble.
But the opposite.
Yeah.
When that popped,
Yes.
and took a lot of lawsuits, sweat and tears, or legal maneuvers and sweat and tears to get it back. And Chris, my partner, and I have been noodling on different new versions of it for literally 26 years.
Wow.
So I finally took a class at my own company in developing a pitch, and now I'm also taking a class at my own company to move me along in writing the pilot for an updated. It's like the ninth time we've updated the character, but like for the most recent iteration of the character of this superhero, and what would she be what would she be like today, and so yeah, it's very much like I think it's a relatable, it's very specific, but I think it's the theme that it fits into is, you know, women in their 40s, 50s who maybe we have a little more time for some reason, or an empty nest, or like we've achieved what we want to achieve in our jobs to some degree, so we're not scrambling and grinding. That's not me, by the way, but in any case, but there's reasons why women in their 40s, 50s plus uh, seek out and grab onto creative projects or
Right.
goals that they'd set aside.
Yeah.
And this is that.
I love it. I can't wait. I can't wait for the reboot.
Well,
And
first I
I'm
got to write
so
it. But
that's okay. It's gonna come. And I love that you have tapped into the company that you created for other people that are using this beautiful thing. Can you say more about that? Like, how did this even start? Because it's brilliant.
oh, thank you.
You're welcome. It just sounds so fun.
It is fun. We have fun. I it is okay. So let me back up. Just to be for context,
Yes.
Gold Comedy is a combo, comedy school and professional network and content studio, where women and non-binary folks and others, and really anyone who just wants a place with no bro vibe,
Got
um,
it.
come to build their comedy careers and creative side hustles and join a powerful collaborative community and make funny stuff that actually gets seen on all kinds of stages and screens. And so this is what it's developed into. Where it came from was the conviction that comedy matters. I'm not the only person with that conviction. Comedy matters, and who makes comedy matters. because comedy is a cultural force,
Hmm.
because comedy is a job, and because women are people. And the industry has not evolved as much as one would like since the 90s when I did stand up. Many seismic, wonderful changes have happened, many have not. And my kind of theory of change is, well, if we can help individuals succeed in their careers and showbiz dreams and creative side hustles and aspirations, that's a win. And then
Right.
in the aggregate, if we just put more women in comedy, and then it becomes that's good for women in comedy. It's good for
Right.
comedy, and it's good for the world because of the impact that comedy has.
Right. Yes, you've mentioned this, and it's such a pillar in your work that when you make people laugh, you're making people listen.
Right.
And can you share how that happens and how you have seen the beautiful effects of that in societal change?
Sure. Comedy definitely works as a delivery system for challenging, thorny, unpleasant topics and conversations.
Gosh, if
I mean,
only
there's
you had more fodder for your work.
if
Yes.
only. And right, everything seems fine now. So, but when it gets bad again, we'll have some more
Yeah.
comedy.
Yeah.
Um, and so for so it's when you at the very like cellular level, when a joke is a setup and a punch, most, not all, but like that's sort of the core structure, whether it's explicit or not. And when you take someone on the journey from the setup to a punch, there's a twist. That's what makes you laugh. The setup makes the audience think you're going one way, and you go a different way. And again, this is like the nucleus of all comedy, not just stand up, at some level. And so when the audience goes with you, like when everyone gets the joke, you have a feeling of connectedness. Like you're like,
Mhm.
oh, I went around that curve with them. I didn't fall out, you know?
Right.
And that's how it kind of can pull people in, make you feel connected, even if it's not a about a specific issue. And and even like really specifically, let's take stand up as an example. If you go to see a stand up show and the person on stage is someone who doesn't look like you, someone with a different background from you, someone with different opinions from you, whatever it is. And the social contract you have in that moment is that for the next 8 minutes or 10 minutes or 20 minutes, you are going to listen to them talk.
Mm,
That doesn't happen anywhere else.
right.
That you are required, that you
Right.
could be a white dude required to listen to a trans black woman.
Right.
That does not happen anywhere else. And it doesn't matter if she is talking about trans stuff. She could just be talking about like her wacky family or
Mhm.
her annoying job. Like it doesn't matter. But that is transformative. Even if you don't feel it, even if you don't notice it, that normalizes her having the power.
It gave me chills when you said that. It's so good.
So that's the only place that that happens. And if that in like at the cultural level, that's huge.
Right. Right. Because it also, for the white dude who then laughs, it gives him a connection point to this entire segment of culture and society that he formerly thought he had no connection to.
Right. Because I can guarantee you that no matter what, in this, to continue with this example, no matter what she's talking about, the best comedy, the best storytelling, whatever, is the most specific. which is a paradox, right? The most, I shouldn't say the best, but what I mean is in this case, the most relatable. The more specific you are, this is the paradox, the more specific you are, the more relatable you are. Weird, right?
Yep.
No, because the more specific you are, the more vividly you paint a picture. And so someone can like enter into that picture, and even if it's not a picture they've ever been in, they're in it now, and they can then they're like, okay, but what you're really talking about are these primal themes. You're talking about not fitting in, you're talking about being lonely, you're talking about just those, you know, those primal fear of whatever, or you know, being bullied, whatever it was, I don't know, but or feeling overlooked. I don't, whatever. Like, so the more vivid the picture, the more you can enter into it and then attach yourself to the primal themes. So it turns out that someone completely different from you on the, literally on their face, is actually totally relatable to you. And then, so like somewhere in your brain, and it may not be explicit, it clicks for you that that person is human.
Exactly. My gosh, it's big, beautiful
Big.
work.
It's big. It's big. And that could just be some dumb tourist show in New York City with a, you know, a 2 drink minimum, and you know, like you know, it doesn't have to be, it can just be like a fun night out. It doesn't have to be like important or significant or about politics or anything like that. It can just be like having fun. But that those different gears start to turn even when you're not aware.
Before you started the school, did you already know this, or is it
Um,
something that you've like mined as you've done it? Like, oh my gosh, this is actually a movement.
I mean, no, I've been thinking, I've been sort of, you know, when you like do that science thing when you put the string in sugar water and it makes crystals. So
Right.
like those crystals have been growing for a while, you know. But I kind of did have the string in the sugar water, you know, like I I cared, I've always cared about comedy, just like I just like it. So that's just my, this is my area. A lot of ways to make social change. I chose comedy because I, that's what I like. But so I care about comedy, care about social change, care in particular about gender equity, but that's not the only thing. It also connects to everything else.
Mhm.
So, and I care about pop culture in general and the power of pop culture to drive change. Doesn't have to be comedy. And because that pop culture is really sort of what creates the air cover for all the other kinds of change, or what helps normalize new ideas and new thoughts, new actions that are, that hadn't happened before. And so it really was a matter of, well, if I really have kind of made a career out of it, you know, at that intersection of
Yeah.
entertainment and social change. I am not the first one. It's a whole field, you know, so it's
Oh, for
not like
sure.
I'm not a pioneer here necessarily in the big picture. Um, but I always knew that I always felt how important it was, especially for women. And I do not subscribe to the idea that like if only women spoke up more, uh, you know, we'd be in a better place. Because I'm like, no, if only people listen to women. So,
Preach, sister.
um, you know, like we're fine. Just they need to listen. So that's sort
Yeah.
of where those ideas. There are lots of ideas that went into this whole solution, um, but uh, but they kind of came together in one place. And I've been developing the idea of gold for a long time, also, both before I actually launched what we see today, and then also in the process of creating it and understanding what people want and understanding what people will pay for and all the business stuff too, you know. So
Right.
um so like I don't invite people to join gold by saying like we can change the world because women should be listened to. It's more like how do you want, what help do you need with your career, you know. That's the
Right,
selling
right. We
point. But
sell
then,
them what they want and give them what they need.
right, but they also are like, of course they like to joining gold as opposed to someplace else, they are signing on to that big mission, but that's not why they like write a check. And actually
Right.
also nobody writes checks,
Yeah.
it's credit cards. But in any case, um so it just evolved intentionally, not unintentionally, but it evolved, the mission, and the company, and the ideas that I'm talking about all evolved together over time.
Right. Oh my gosh. I love the connection of the networking with the school. I mean, it's just holistic. And once you find your people, this group of people where you feel expansive and you feel creative and you feel safe,
Yeah.
all of those areas expand.
Yeah, exactly. And to be clear, the school is we're all almost all online. We're 98% online. So this is a thing you can access, anybody can access from anywhere. Um and yeah, it is holistic. Like it's designed that way philosophically because uh t typically the basic model is that you actually pay by the year. You don't pay per class or per
Okay.
experience. So when you subscribe, most of the classes and most of the experiences are included. And that's how we kind of show not tell that
Mhm.
the community come and the crew, the finding your people comes first.
Right.
And because that's important in any fields, and it's certainly important in a field that doesn't have the sort of traditional structure that others do, right?
Right. And I love that it's a year-long container.
Yeah, and most people renew because they're like, what else can I do? Uh, and the operationally the holistic part really works well because all of the different classes and on demand stuff and meet and greets with celebrities and pros and all the open mics, they all fit together. To You can fit them together in your own jigsaw to puzzle to do what you want to do. So like for example, we have someone, I can say she's Naomi Winders, who you can find on Studio C, the sketch series. She's amazing, and she's a member, and she has a pilot now that she's finishing and wants to take out and pitch. But where did that pilot come from? Well, she took I think she's taken all of our classes, and we always had new ones, but I think she's like caught
Sure.
up. um she took sketch, all of our sketch classes, then and honed, which she already wrote sketch, but then she developed that even more in our web series class, writing a web series. That web series, she was like, actually, um, this could be this could be a whole TV show. So she took our idea development class, developed the idea for into a whole TV show and the pitch,
Amazing.
an industry standard ready pitch. And now she wrote the pilot, and now she's thinking about producing the web series as a proof of concept for the pilot.
Pitching the
But it's all
pilot.
because when I said, Maggie, who teaches our sketch class, who should take this pitching class? And she was like, she basically everybody, but she said, well, Naomi has an idea that I think could really fly. So like she just kind of went through this kind of zigzaggy but natural path and has developed a real serious project that and that that with all of us cheering her along on the way, and
Of
yeah,
course.
so yeah.
Oh my gosh. I mean, I know that this happens, but I just love stories like this because that whole process can feel so isolating, and you've created community around something that is isolating.
Yeah,
That's brilliant.
here's a better example of that. I was thinking of Naomi because I was just talking to her last night, but we have a woman named Rocky who lives in North Carolina, near Durham, but not in a city. And she's retired. She takes care of her grandchildren. She takes care of one of her adult sons who has extra needs, and she came to us a couple years ago because she said, "I know I'm funny, but I don't know how to do any of this, and I
Right.
want to." And she took our stand-up class something like a record 10 times, which you can do because it's included for the accountability and the new crowd each time for different feedback, et cetera, et cetera. And then she took our solo show class and developed a solo show that then wound up in a festival in New York City in September, which is when I finally met her for the first time. And
Amazing.
now we're figuring out how we can support her in continuing to do the show and tour it, and tour it, or expand on it, create a digital version. So, and she, that 3 years ago she was just like, I'm funny, but
It's
yep,
so cool. Oh my
yep,
gosh. I love stories of obviously women saying yes to themselves, but then how yes, there are so many ripple effects to our yeses. And what I've heard in the hundreds of women that I've spoken to, that sometimes we think that our yes is selfish and that it's only for us, and that the people that we're responsible for are going to have to, fend for themselves if we do this one thing that feels decadent and special. But it's not how it works. There's this gorgeous divine math that happens when we are concentrated on our own personal alignment, and we trust that we attract other people that are doing that too. And then our impact and these ripple effects grow so far and wide that what we thought we were taking care of so many people by denying ourselves is just the opposite of what happens.
Exactly. Exactly. Nothing to add. I mean, and
Oh, yeah.
and oh, just to say that like Rocky is a perfect example of that because she does take care of people. She has
Yeah.
commitments that tie her to family, and she figures it out. And it probably makes her, that's how she like recharges her batteries and doesn't feel trapped and limited. And you know, um, I'm talking to her on the ways to. I did an Instagram live with her the other day when she was like, now she writes for a sketch team also in Raleigh. Where I'm not sure where,
Amazing.
but in North Carolina, she writes for a sketch team, and we did this Instagram live when she was like outside the building, and then we did this little tour of the backstage, and I'm like, she no, I'm not, no, someone else is home with the grandkids, and I'm not asking, like
Right. Yeah.
she's got it covered. Someone else is home with her son. It's handled,
And it's
yeah,
so great because also what that yes does is it unlocks the how,
right.
right? Sometimes we
Then
think
you
we
have to
can't
figure it out.
do this because who's going to do all of these things? And that is again this divine math of their solution exists, and it comes through that open channel of us saying yes to ourselves.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh. Okay. It's all just so good. And the fact that it can be delicious and expansive and entertaining and cause people to think and create social change, which is so beautiful and delicious on its own, because it's coming from a place of alignment, it can be received as an invitation to a new perspective, a new way of thinking, rather than just yelling at someone and saying they're an idiot for buying into whatever they're up to. I just think that the path that leads you to the microphone impacts how the delivery of what you're saying in the microphone, wherever your microphone is.
beautifully put. Speaking of microphones,
Yeah.
I don't know if you can hear how New York, the level of New York I'm in right now,
Oh,
because
no.
there's a massive traffic jam, including sirens outside. They're not like there's not an emergency. There's just
Right.
I just don't know if you can hear all the horns
I
honking.
can't.
Okay,
I can't. That's so funny
I
though.
had to mute for a second. I was like, okay, New York, take it easy. I'm on a
Right. I'm
podcast.
glad you're here.
Yeah.
We're not forgetting about you. Yeah, I'm a student of A Course in Miracles, and it's a spiritual teaching book, and it has 365 lessons. And Marianne Williamson has been teaching, lecturing on these teachings for decades. And so during the pandemic, she recorded 365 videos going through every lesson. And I think her apartment is on top of a fire station, because every morning, like
Yeah.
she's telling me this, it is impossible to see two worlds. And there are sirens through every single one of those
Yep. And
things.
you're just like, okay, it's the helpers. It's the helpers.
Right.
Yep.
Right. And I love that it's not edited out,
Yeah.
because this is life, people.
Yep. That's
So
one
good.
thing that I think, like, we could have done without the pandemic, but given that it happened, I think I love the kind of new. accessibility and casualness that has become a norm. I mean, I still
Right.
think you still have to like pay attention to your,
Yeah,
but
you should still wear pants.
you should still wear pants as far as anyone knows.
Yeah.
Um, no comment.
Yeah,
I
I will still wear pants.
I am wearing pants. Not shoes, but pants.
Okay.
But I do love that kind of accessibility and like it, in a way it's like as far apart as we are and how distancing technology can seem, it's also actually, I think it also narrows the distance between people in a
Oh,
way
I
as
could
well.
not agree more. And to not that we can have these conversations and we didn't leave the building. I didn't find a parking space. I mean, I've had 5 conversations today for this podcast. I love that. I haven't straightened my legs
Yeah.
5 hours. Like it's beautiful. And I think it does connect us. And it's giving us the opportunity to reframe what connection is and what friendship is and what it means to be vulnerable, to be available. There during the pandemic, I took this online business class. The women said, "Hey, you can get paid to do what you love." Like, I'm down. Sign me up. And I met these amazing people, and it started at the end of January of 2020 and ended mid-April 2020. So then, of course, we all needed to pivot because the thing that we just spent 12 weeks
Yep.
honing in on was no longer an option. And so many of us continued. We just took the course again, but on our own. And then those friendships have morphed. And one woman, she has a nonprofit in Kenya, and I'm on the board. We've gone to Kenya together. I've traveled with so many of these women. And there was this moment in time when I would be telling someone about, oh, my friend Cindy. Well, I haven't actually met her,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
like she's inside my body. Like she has experienced the depths of my soul. These 3 women that I was having Zoom calls with once a week
Yeah.
walked with me through the time that I was sitting in the question of my marriage.
Wow.
Like no other person that I had formally met in person was doing that at
Yep.
that level of connection. So I
Yep.
think that, just like they say, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. But
Yeah.
when you are open and available to be known, connection appears.
For sure. For sure. Totally agree.
And it's 111. So
Oh,
yes, to
magic.
all of that.
Yep.
I love a wink from the universe. It's a good thing that we're talking about. So I mean, I know what's next is the pilot, but what do you
Oh,
want
yeah. And
people
that's
to
like, I mean,
know?
I don't mean to downplay it because it's important to me, but like there's a lot of variables there. I have like, for example, but one of them is the one that's in my control is I have to write it. I have to finish it. But so I then I get to figure out what to do with it. So, but that one very important first step is to finish it. But that's also I have a structure for that, so that's good. It's not just like someday.
Right.
So
And the yes unlocks the how.
right, exactly,
Right.
exactly.
You're holding space. So what do you want people to know? Like what is why tell these fabulous stories? Why share your goodness with the world? I know.
I just think that there is so much joy and power in discovering your own connection to comedy and humor. And there's so many
Mm,
forms that it comes in. It's not like the answer to everything. It's not the right way to do things. But I think sometimes people count themselves out because they don't fit a narrow description of what it means to be funny. Whether
right,
and so like my thing is like you don't have to be less shy. You don't have to be more confident. You don't have to be anything. I mean, like, come on. The expression is a sense of humor, right? It's a sense. It's just a sense. Like, it's not a grasp. It's
right.
just a sense. I
Right.
think we all have a sense of humor. The bar is low, people.
Sure.
The bar is low. And whether it's finding ways to like change your own, I don't know, change, but shift or just like remove that like unnecessary limitation and just
Right.
be like,
What if you
doesn't
were
matter.
funny? If you
What's
were
that?
funny, what would you do? Right. Like
Right.
just
And it's just
change instead of saying you're not funny.
right. And also like you're first of all comparing yourselves to a professional comedian
Yeah.
maybe who's been doing this for 20 years. So like yeah, no, you're not like that, but that's normal. Like you're also I also am not a pastry like I can't make a pastry like a pastry chef. That's not bad. I'm not an imposter. Like I'm just not I
Right.
haven't done it. I didn't do it yet. So I think I think just it anyone I think a lot of people are pretty good at consuming comedy. So that's great. That's handled. But there's something there's really like even the second lowest bar is kind of active noticing of things that are funny and just allowing yourself to laugh and that can be trained. Um even just like writing it down. And there I always recommend that people write everything down because we remember nothing, but also if you write stuff down, you start noticing that you
Mm-hmm.
actually do have some material. And you don't have to write down things that are already funny. A lot that's another misperception. Like the misperceptions include all comics are not shy, all comics are confident, all comics are loud. And or that comedy means that like I've got to have this wacky life where crazy stuff happens to me. Absolutely not. Because also that's not comedy. Those are funny anecdotes.
Sure.
So uh so just realizing that like in a normal day there like I just this is the stupidest thing but I just like happened across I'm sure this is like an old meme and I'm like now gonna you know show how square I am but there was something on Instagram or TikTok about like it was um drinking water out of anything but a glass until our CEO notices and it was a Zoom and it was like a regular meeting sort of pedestrian everyday Zoom meeting and every one by one you notice that like wait a minute she's drinking out of a pitcher or like he's drinking out of a bowl of a dog bowl like and it's just like and everyone has a straight face and I'm like this is hilarious
That is hilarious.
and so it's just I don't know where I was going with that but like you don't like why not um, and I also think that people, there's all the reasons that take themselves out of the running. That was a
Right.
distraction. I don't know. That was just hilarious to me.
Yeah,
But
right. It's creative.
why not? What joy did they, with like, they're still laughing about it. They're psyched that it went viral. Like, layers and layers of joy. Um, the other thing is that people think that um, being funny means always talking or
Mm.
always like trying to be funny. And a lot of it is actually when you don't say anything or like nobody notices when you don't tell a joke. You know, so like if there's no joke there, okay, just wait for when the joke is right. And a lot of times it's not even making a joke, it's just acknowledging what's it's reading the room. So like for you to be the one in the room in a meeting and to be like to be the one and to be clear, this is not a joke, but to be the one who just says, is it me or is it freezing in here? Not a complaint. It just and you're the one who makes everyone go like, "Yes, it's
Oh my
freezing." I was
gosh. Yeah.
waiting for someone to say and like not a joke, but it opens something up because you read the room, but you were the one to say it. And so even like developing the ear for that
Mm.
in a way that kind of like puts everyone at ease and like now you can have the meeting is the kind of thing that comics do and the kind of skill that is transferable from comedy. And that wasn't hard. I didn't write
Right.
a joke just then.
Right. Right.
Um,
But it's that awareness and practicing, exercising that muscle of awareness and voice.
yes. So I think, and again, I'm not sure. I never want to like sound like I'm saying, well, if women could just be more, but then we'll fix patriarchy. Like it's not,
Awesome.
that's not what I'm trying to say, but I'm just there's joy that you might be talking yourself out of based on incorrect assumptions. That's all I'm saying.
Mm. Say
And
that
even
again.
power that you might be talking yourself out of based on incorrect assumptions. So it's not a criticism. It's not like, again, I'm not solving patriarchy here. I'm just saying that there's something that you might have just based on a myth or just an inaccurate perception, something you might be missing out that you might enjoy.
Right.
and that might
Oh,
access connection and maybe even a little power.
yummy. I'll take it. Well, please tell everyone how they can find and follow you, how they can get information about the school. I didn't realize that it was online. I think that's
Entirely online.
brilliant.
Yeah.
So they
Yeah.
can be inspired by this beautiful conversation and sign right up.
Thank you. Yeah, easy peasy. You can visit goldcomedy.com. We also have a lot of freemium resources there. I should just say free, it's freemium. A lot of free resources there, articles, Q&As with interesting comedians, just stuff to read and enjoy. Um, we're also on YouTube, youtube.com/goldcomedy. We have tons of sketches. We have teams that make digital sketches. So if you want to just go and laugh, we got you.
I want to
Um,
go and laugh. I
yeah,
can't.
and then you can also find that through Instagram at Gold Comedy, just GOLD Comedy. And I'll be happy to provide you and your listeners with a discount code and to check us out because really,
Thank
again, it's
you.
we're here for we have lots of people who are already professional comedians, and we have lots of people who are not yet professional comedians or people who didn't think they were coming to us to be professional comedians, but who get hooked. Or really, as I said, people who wind up developing creative side hustles
Wow.
that are like the pilot that in Naomi's case, hers happens to be a funny pilot, but we have people developing ideas that are not funny, but just because we're also about access.
Right.
And so, I've got this great idea, but I don't know anything about Hollywood. I don't know anyone in Hollywood, so I guess I won't do it. Hold up.
Mm, yeah, exactly.
We can help you not just do the creative process, but help you speak the language that you need to speak um, in order to and even in some cases make the connections that you need to make in order to move that project into reality.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. I love it. And you have all the sounds of New York. I have all the sounds of my phone blowing up. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, mine was
I
too. Yeah, I it's just
I made the mistake. You know the websites that like kind of trick you that that they're the government website, but they're not. And
well,
I
that seems
needed
alarming.
to
Yeah,
I needed to look for healthcare and
go on.
or health insurance.
Hmm.
And apparently, I pushed the wrong button, and I am not exaggerating. That phone call right there was number 126 since yesterday.
Okay,
Like,
so this is the beginning of a bit. I don't know where it's going,
I know. Well, I've
but
started
there's something
answering
there.
the calls and telling
Yeah.
them, hey, I just want you to know you're number 124 and I'm all set, but thanks. Please take me off your list. And this one
Nope.
guy said, okay, this is what you need to tell everyone that's calling you that you're 80 years old and you're on Medicare. Can you help me? He's like, they'll all hang up on you and they'll take you off the list themselves. Like,
Thanks,
oh my
Bruce. That's a
gosh,
good
I
tip.
love you. You're my
Yeah.
favorite. Perfect. Number 78. I'll write that down. Thank you. Oh my gosh. So thank you for all of that beautiful, your generous discount code and all
Sure.
of those ways to connect with you. We are all going to laugh and the super called are going to be brave and courageous and say yes to themselves. And I can't wait to have them on the podcast, which will be so
Absolutely.
fun. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much, Lynn. This was such a delightful conversation. I appreciate you.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.